Okay, so today I want to take just a few minutes to talk through thesis statements and topic sentences. I'm going to try to keep this no more than 15 minutes, so let's see how good I do. All right, so thesis statements are where we're going to start. Just a couple of things to keep in mind, and this should be review. I'm hoping this is review, but just a few things. First, your thesis statement is your main idea. It's the point you're trying to communicate. It should answer the questions embedded in the prompt. There could be one question in your prompt, like, what is the conflict of the story and how does it affect readers? And that's really only one question, which is, how does the conflict presented in the story affect readers, right? Or it could be more specific than that. It could be, determine the conflict in the story, discuss how that struggle is presented through the character, and then explore what prices are paid, or whatever it was that first prompt said. So you want to make sure you hit all the ideas that are in that prompt that you have to answer in your paper. Because if you're not answering the questions in the prompt, you have not effectively done your job. Your thesis statement should be the last sentence in your introductory paragraph. You may have heard in other classes that it doesn't have to go there, and while that is technically true, for undergraduate students, this is the safest place to put your thesis statement, and it is where I expect you to put your thesis statement. When you become a more accomplished writer, if you want to put your thesis statement in other places like accomplished writers do, or you want to have an implicit thesis statement like accomplished writers do, I think that's a great idea. But for now, it needs to be your last sentence in the introductory paragraph, and it needs to be explicitly conveyed to your reader. You need to really look at your thesis statement as a contract with your audience. It's what you're committing to write about. So whatever you say you're going to prove in your thesis statement, you must prove it. If somewhere along the way, as you're writing your paper, what you set out to prove kind of changes, then modify your thesis statement to match what you actually did in your paper. Ultimately, whatever you say you're doing in that thesis statement better be what's in the paper, and there should not be surprises for your reader as they're reading along. So if you say you're going to be talking about symbols, you're not going to suddenly throw in a paragraph about dialogue and not connect it to symbolism. Otherwise, you have thrown something in that does not support that thesis statement, and that will cause you a huge issue within your paper. And then finally, the sentence answers your reader's biggest question. What's your point? Why are you writing this? What is the main idea here? What are you hoping to convey? Why does this matter? So there's three basic elements of a proper thesis statement: the topic, the position, and the rationale. To do this, you first want to find your topic. What is it you're writing about? Then you want to take a position. What is your opinion about the subject you're writing about? What do you think about the topic? Now, I'm using the word what. I'm saying, what is your opinion? What do you think? You're not actually going to refer to you. So when you are writing formally and academically, as a general rule, you are not going to say things like, in this paper, I will discuss, or I think, da 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 da. Because you are the writer, it is implied that you think whatever it is you're writing. Additionally, you don't need to refer to your paper because we know it's a paper, so you don't need to say, in this paper, I will, blah, 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 because we know you're going to do it in this paper. It's your paper and you're writing about it. So do not do that. When you develop your thesis statement in that manner, it belittles your sophistication as a writer. It basically undermines your authority and says, oh, this writer is not particularly sophisticated in thought, which is probably not the case. You probably just didn't realize you shouldn't be writing your thesis statement that way. And then finally, you need to establish your rationale. The rationale is your reason or justification for holding that position or opinion. Why is your position true? So how are you going to prove what you said is true? Let's look at a couple of examples. I switched the slide. There we go. Our first one says, in Hamlet, Shakespeare uses the thoughts and actions of his protagonist to explore the thin border between madness and revenge. This is one way to do a thesis statement. We can tell from this that our writer is going to use thoughts and actions of Hamlet to explore madness and revenge. So we can assume our topic paragraph, or our topic sentences, our body paragraphs are going to discuss Hamlet's thoughts, Hamlet's actions, and then how those things show madness and revenge. If I were writing this paper, I would probably show how Hamlet's thoughts slowly show him becoming less sane, how his thoughts are preoccupied with revenge. Then I would talk about how his actions show how he's becoming less and less sane, and then how his actions show his thirst for revenge. That's the way I would probably approach that. But you could do it different ways. Here's another example of the same thesis statement, worded just a little bit differently, but also effective. Through Hamlet's thoughts and actions, Shakespeare explores the thin border between madness and revenge. Now here, we know our topic is Hamlet's thoughts and actions, and we know that we're arguing that Shakespeare explores the madness, the idea, the border between madness and revenge. We have our topic, position, and rationale here. They're not laid out super clearly in the sense of this. If I said The Simpsons is the best TV show because of X, Y, and Z, then my thesis is very clear. I'm saying The Simpsons, that's my topic, is the best, that's my position, and my rationale is that X, Y, and Z. Well, this isn't laid out quite so clearly, but there's still a topic, a position, and a rationale in this thesis statement, which is that Shakespeare is doing something through this character to explore this idea, and this is evidenced through that character's thoughts and actions. Here's a third example from a completely different piece of literature. It is quite apparent that Dave Eggers' protagonist in Accident is fighting inner battles of loneliness, hurt, and alcoholism. From this, readers gain insight to the impact emotions can ultimately have on a situation. Okay, so here, this thesis was actually written for, I think, prompt number 1, the one that talks about conflict that you can do for this literary analysis essay. And with this, this student was exploring how emotions impact situations, and she's going to prove that through the characters' loneliness, hurt, and alcoholism. In her essay, she discusses loneliness, hurt, and alcoholism. There is no great surprise. She didn't suddenly throw in a paragraph about lost love, even though it could, be something that character is experiencing. All right. The next thing I want to talk about are topic sentences and how topic sentences should support thesis statements. But before we get there, I want to just kind of casually remind you of the format of a body paragraph. Your body paragraph has 3 basic parts: a topic sentence, supporting ideas, another word for supporting ideas is evidence, and then your explanation of those supporting ideas. As a reminder from the literary analysis video, you should have 2 to 3 times as much explanation and interpretation as evidence. So your body paragraph should primarily be you interpreting your evidence. One other thing to keep in mind, though, is that per the rubric, you are required 2 pieces of evidence per body paragraph. So that's 2 quotes from the story. Just to clarify, when I say quotes from the story, sometimes that confuses students. When you use quotes from a story, you could be quoting when a character actually talks. But when we say quotes from a story, what we really mean is anything that you copy word for word from the story. So if there's a sentence in the story that makes a point that you want to use as evidence to prove whatever you're trying to say, that would be a quote from the story. All right, now back to topic sentences. Topic sentences must relate back to a specific part of your thesis and should be the first sentence of the paragraph. So your topic sentence is one sentence, not 2 or 3, one that relates back to a specific part of your thesis. Without a topic sentence, your body paragraphs will be unfocused and unclear. Topic sentences must contain analysis. It's not enough to discuss a particular example or to summarize information from a source. Keep that third point in your mind. You must have analysis. You can't just say, oh, here's an example, or here's some summary of what happened in the source. That does not work. You have to be showing analysis. So, if I wanted to talk about how The Simpsons is the best show on TV, I might say something like this. Let's say I wanted to say this. The point I'm trying to make is that The Simpsons has been around a long time, so that it must be a good show. So a lot of us are inclined to say a fact. So The Simpsons debuted in 1989. Now, what I would want to get at in that paragraph would be that because it debuted in 1989 and is still going today, that it has longevity. But when I just have that statement of fact, I have no idea as a reader what me as a writer is trying to get across. So I would want to take that fact and turn it into analysis and say something like this. Because The Simpsons debuted in 1989 and is still running on network television, The Simpsons clearly stands the test of time. So now I'm arguing that because it's been through so many decades, it's been going, and it's still popular, then this show is set apart from others. I'm now arguing something, and I now have included analysis. If you begin your paragraph with an example or with evidence from a source, your reader will not know how these things relate to your thesis. It is up to you to connect the dots for your reader and to make your point before backing it up with examples or sources. Again, starting with a fact, starting with evidence is not effective. That is not what a topic sentence is, and if you do that, you will not be conveying your point to your reader. Your reader will be confused, and at the point your reader becomes confused, you have lost your reader. You don't want your reader confused. All right. So just some do's and don'ts. Topic sentences must be provable or arguable statements, declaring what you will try to prove in the paragraph. Topic sentences must connect to the thesis clearly. Topic sentences must not be questions. Topic sentences must not be a simple statement of fact. And topic sentences must not include evidence. Keep all of those things in mind. I did put in there, and I haven't addressed this before, that topic sentences must not be questions. Please keep this in mind. Do not start a paragraph with a question. It is ineffective, and at the collegiate level, it is not appropriate. So if you are inclined to ask questions, convert those questions into analytical, provable statements that connect to your thesis statement. Okay. So let's look at from thesis to topic sentence. So let's go back to that first thesis that I gave you as a sample. In Hamlet, Shakespeare uses the thoughts and actions of his protagonist to explore the thin border between madness and revenge. Here are two potential topic sentences that might occur in a paper on this topic. Topic sentence 1. Throughout the play, Hamlet's bizarre actions make his true mental state ambiguous, casting doubt on his sanity. Now, here's what I really want you to see here. First of all, we see that something's being argued, something is going to be tried to be proven in this paragraph, which is that Hamlet's actions are bizarre and they cast doubt on his sanity. So it's not just, the topic sentence doesn't say Hamlet acts strange or Hamlet is crazy. It's more thoughtful than that. Additionally, I want you to notice how there's some overlapping words. We have the word actions, Hamlet, and then we see this idea of casting doubt on his sanity, which goes to this idea of madness. All right. So what I really want you to see there is how these ideas are being presented in that topic sentence that were in the thesis statement. Your topic sentences should do what this topic sentence is doing, which is using similar words. You don't have to use the exact same words. Again, here it uses sanity, whereas in the thesis it says madness, but we understand that that's working as synonyms. Topic sentence 2. Hamlet's inner thoughts express the protagonist's turmoil over the death of his father and his thirst for revenge. So here we have Hamlet, Hamlet. We have the idea of inner thoughts. We have the idea of thoughts. And then we have the idea of turmoil and thirst for revenge. And what do we have here? Revenge. Again, we're using very similar uses of language to get across this point. You want it to be clear that your topic sentences are arguing a point and are supporting your thesis statement. The biggest trick I can give you is you should think of your topic sentence as a mini thesis statement. It's a condensed version for a one paragraph point of the big idea your thesis statement is addressing. So it's a portion of your thesis statement. I almost made it for under 15 minutes. It looks like it's going to be right at 16 minutes. I hope you find this video helpful, and if I can help you, please let me know.